Hi, my name is Jeanette Chittis, and I am doing my video discussion forum for ethics. So, the first question that we're supposed to answer is, what are the most common reasons for a board to discipline a counselor, and what is your personal reaction as you read through the text or the list? Well, the most common are breach of confidentiality, inappropriate relationships and boundaries with clients, false, misleading, deceptive advertising services. My reaction is, how does this happen? I mean, after we study it, it seems like it's so spelled out and it's so specific and it's simplistic. But I guess that, my reaction is, wow, this really still, this happens, and it happens more frequently than one would think. It makes me a little nervous. It makes me a little on edge. And it also makes me understand the diligence that I need to exercise whenever I start my own practice on making sure I have these boundaries and these places, these lines in the sand that really really protect me as a counselor. And with so I'm following all the ethics. And my staff's following the ethics. So that's the number one. The number two question is, what are some themes? What are some themes you see when you look at the common reasons for board discipline? Themes I see: lack of boundaries and truth in practice and advertising. And then lack of protocol in office regarding confidentiality. So those are some of the things that I see for common reasons for board discipline, it was more than I thought, and another thing is you don't have control over other people in the office. So, one has to be very diligent, make sure that the protocol is followed, and that, that the protocol is emphasized, that it's really important and why, so everyone knows, especially in this age of oversharing information. So that really kind of drove home to me. The lack of boundaries, the truth in practice and advertising is pretty simple. Just advertise who you are and what you can do, not over promise anything, and be truthful about your background, your academia, the licenses that you have, and what your practice is focused on. So those are. Number three, choose one of the more recent cases and discuss the following points. What was the behavior that led to the discipline? Well, the one I looked at was failure to establish and maintain professional boundaries. Surprise! The dual relationships. That was on a finding of a monetary gift, and that the counselor had purposely tried to mislead the staff board who were investigating it. So not only did they, were they written up because they had taken a gift or had allegedly taken a gift, I'd say, but then they were also, the board thought that they were even going to more extent to hide it, which isn't good. Identify and share the ACA Code of Ethics and your state code that was violated. Let's see. A6B, extending counseling boundaries, and A6C, documenting boundary extensions, Texas 681.41M.6, period. The licensee must not give or accept gifts from a client valued more than $50. So yes, it violates my state code and the ACA. Let's see. The counselor retained counsel, and they ended up getting an advisory letter. It wasn't a public discipline, so it wasn't on the record, but it was basically a dismissal. And even they went that far. They had, in the advisory letter, they said, well, it has come to our attention that you're a little lax on this. You need to practice this. And then, because in the initial discussion with them and the client, the client and the board, they were like, oh no, there was no wrongdoing. They didn't find any wrongdoing. You'll be relieved and, all the charges will be dismissed. But then in the letter the advisory letter, they kind of sent it like a generic letter about, well, this has come to our attention, so just be careful about this. And then their lawyers actually went back and said, hey, no, you are dismissing it. You need to send us a letter that acknowledges that. And there's no of this like warning, like slap on the hand, like you don't need to do this. So it's really important to show the importance of having a lawyer and having an attorney and representation in your practice, which is definitely essential, I think, to a good practice. Number 4, what does the ACA Code of Ethics and your state code say about counselor impairment? Well, they aren't supposed to provide services when they are impaired, obviously. They need to seek assistance for problems. The reach of the level of professional impairment, and if necessary, they limit, suspend, or terminate their professional responsibilities until it's determined that they may safely resume work. So that's both of that, the ACA and the Texas board say that. What is the question this brings to mind for you? Well, first of all, you need to retain a lawyer, like I said. If you are in private practice, you need to make sure that you have them on speed dial, have them on retainer. Make sure, because people can be so complicated. Relationships are complicated. Counseling relationships are even more complicated. So, to have those really understanding of the law, have someone on speed dial that can help you, to make sure that you're within the law and that the law is protecting you as a professional, and your business and your livelihood is extremely important, because you've come this far to build up, to go to school, to go, your couple years of learning, and then to create your own practice. That this is something worth protecting. And so definitely retain a lawyer. And second of all, how did the board, I was wondering, how did the board find out about the monetary gift? Like, where did the professional relationship get off board? Like, what happened that was reported, and how it was reported. And it's like, I think it's important to really keep your counseling relationships. Obviously, the protocols and the boundaries need to be very tight. But then also the check-in with the client, needs to be really tight, and we need to know like what's going on and how they're feeling and what else, because like, how did this even, get out there that they were accused of it, which is crazy to me too. Having good records, keeping very good records and documentation of everything, making sure that, all the protocols are covered and followed, and the boundaries are not, walked over. This can prevent, any of this, violations, whether it be an ACA violation or on a state level violation. It's just really important. And I'm so glad we covered it. Thank you so much for listening.